Hello peeps and welcome back to Gult's Gorge. Alright, so I am just getting things set up for some recording here. It's a completely different day from the last 3 episodes. I took some time to rest and recover. Just got done topping off my energy cells and we're ready to go. So, the last couple episodes have been kind of a rush. We did the big, probably unnecessarily big ME controller in there. We set up the thermal evaporation towers, which, by the way, have completely depleted my charcoal supply, but did get me about 10,000 lithium dust, which is more than we're probably ever going to need. But that's neither here nor there. It's not so much that we need it, it's that we want it, right? I also set up the Wither auto spawner. This thing is being kind of a pain in the ass, though, because these conduits don't want to remember where they're allowed to put things. So I'm having to come over here and manually put stuff in or break the conduits and replace them all the time. And I did also add this timer along with this lever in an AND gate from Super Circuit Maker. It's pretty easy. The timer sends a pulse every, what do I have it set that? I have it set at 3 seconds. So it sends a pulse every 3 seconds. If this lever is enabled, see if I have the stuff to spawn withers in here. If the lever is enabled, that means that every 3 seconds it spawns a wither. As long as it has supplies to do it. But right now I don't want to really waste a whole lot of time killing a bunch of withers. So we'll let these guys die. And then as soon as that's done. I did make a small change to the spawner. First of all, let's come in here and show you what I did to alleviate the problem that I was having with storage, because these drives were starting to fill up real fast. So I have a storage drawer here with a bunch of storage drawers. Each one of these storage drawers has 4 emerald upgrades and a void upgrade. So if it exceeds the maximum number of items that are allowed, it'll just start deleting any excess. Honestly, I mean, you can see here that I have 72.5 thousand cobblestone in this one, and it's not at its limit. So I can't see us ever needing more than 72.5 thousand of anything. And then I put all of the stuff that we get tons of in here. Take note of the amount of leather and the amount of raw beef that we have, as well as the amount of bones. Yeah, so I made a small change to the auto spawner over here. By the way, a single storage bus on the side of this is enough to give the entire ME network access to everything in there. So storage drawers, if you have them, makes a great way to have mass storage without making these expensive disk drives. Granted, you spend a lot of emeralds, but anyway, I made an upgrade to this. I moved the Enderman Cage down here, and I also got rid of the cow spawner entirely. The reason why I moved the Enderman Cage down here is because Endermen were spawning up there. They were falling down, hitting the ground here, and going, ow, that hurt. I'm going to teleport. Boink. And my entire base was quickly overrun with Endermen, which I had to spend a lot of time killing and cleaning up, and it's just a pain in the ass. But let me show you real quick. You see this oak sapling that's just sitting here in the vacuum chest? It's not supposed to do that. That's not part of the filter that I set on this thing. Which, by the way, I finally went and got smart and put dimlet parcels in here. I missed dimlet parcels like an idiot. But it's supposed to go into the nullifier because it doesn't match that. Like I said, I'm having trouble with these conduits not remembering what they're supposed to do. So if I put this on here, put these item conduit back in there and set this back to extract, now the sapling's gone. Went into the nullifier. For some reason, this one doesn't forget. This one's fine. I don't know why that one's fine and this one isn't. Maybe it's in different chunks. I don't know. But that would be a good explanation as to why this is happening. What's the chunk boundary look like? Crap, I can't remember the hotkey to pull up the chunk boundaries anymore. We should be able to see it from claimed chunks. Yeah, I'm right on the border of 2 chunks, aren't I? Huh. Yeah, I'm right on the border of 2 chunks, so I bet that's the problem. If I were to move this system a little bit, it might remember better. Because this connector is in a different chunk than this placer. And I bet that's the case here too. If we line up just so. Yep, right on the border of a chunk. So I bet that's it. Anyway, this is neither here nor there. Today, I want to start building our auto-crafting system. One more minor thing. I did do a little bit of crafting off camera, and I made some of the high-tier photovoltaic cells from Ender.io, just because I wanted to keep this running at all times. 5 of those is enough to keep this running most of the time. It shuts down at night, but overall, it's pretty nicely keeping up with the power demand. It's actually producing a power surplus for us at the moment. But it's not going to when we're actually running stuff. Right now I'm not running anything except for the shield and the ME system. So let's get started with today's episode. I want to do an auto-crafting system. So, ME auto-crafting requires a bunch of components. Every auto-crafting system has to have some ME interfaces. The ME interfaces actually handle the crafting. It should have some molecular assemblers attached to the ME interfaces. The molecular assemblers actually act as the crafting table that the ME interface uses. Now this works for basic crafting. If you're doing something like smelting or combining in a machine, you have to get tricky about it. We're going to get to that. But in order to actually make auto-crafting happen, you have to have a crafting storage, which is 1K, 4K, 16K, or 64K, same as the storage cells. And ideally, you want to have some coprocessors, because a certain CPU can only handle 1, 2, I think it can handle 3 simultaneous jobs at a time. So if you're doing really complex recipes that have lots of steps, the processor is going to slow down because it can't handle all that much complexity at once. Coprocessors increase the number of jobs that can be handled simultaneously, so it's usually good to have them. I also like having multiple CPUs because multiple CPUs gives you multiple different crafting jobs that you can do at once. Because one CPU can handle one crafting job and the subcomponents thereof. I don't think it can handle multiple jobs at once. Although the coprocessor might help with that, but that's neither here nor there. I like having multiple, so I'm going to build 4 separate CPUs, and those 4 CPUs are all going to consist of a 64K crafting storage, which requires a bunch of these ME storage components. It takes 27 of them to make one 64K. I'm going to craft 1 on camera. Oh crap, I ran out of Certus. I'm going to craft 1 of these on camera and then do the rest of them off camera. Does my drill have fortune in it? Yes, it does. Okay. We'll break the charged first. Again, things that Dagger should have thought about before he started recording. While I'm at it, let's get my drill mining augment and install that. So we can get all these at once. Stack and a half, it should be enough. Be enough to get me going anyway. And did I think ahead and make some more crystals? No, I didn't. Of course not. But yeah, it takes 27 of these to make one 64K storage component, which is what we need here. Because you need to make 9 of these 4Ks. What did I run out of? Did I run out of Certus quartz glass? I think I did. That's going to be another thing I'm going to need to worry about. So that gets us 9 of the 4Ks, which gets us 3 of the 16Ks, which gets us 1 of the 64K. We also need this thing called a crafting unit, which is a couple of calc processors, a logic processor, some iron, and some glass. Well, the glass fiber. Not the fiber, the glass cable, Fluix. I don't think the covered cables worked for this recipe, so. And then we combine these and that gets us our 64K crafting storage. Next gen crafting, awesome. Now, I also want to have, I think I want to have 2 coprocessors for each of these crafting CPUs. I don't know if that's necessary, but I like having it. So that's just an engineering processor with these crafting units. So we'll get 2 of them. And we'll use a couple of engineering processors with that, and that gets us our crafting coprocessors. Now, we're going to need an ME interface, which is going to require some of these formation cores and some of these annihilation cores. I'm going to make a couple of extras. And that gets us our ME interface. Now we need the molecular assembler, which is a formation core and annihilation core crafting table. Basically, it's the same thing, but it has a crafting table in the middle. Just like that. Okay? We get some cable, which I'm going to tell you, I'm going to use smart cable for this. We get our memory card. We get a P2P bridge. And we're ready to set up our first crafting CPU, which I'm going to do in the floor. I didn't really mean to do that. I still have my augment on, apparently. Let's see, what are we using here? We're only using 1 line here. No, we're not. We're using 4. There's 4 going out that way. So I don't want to bridge off this same line. Or wait, no. Because we're using 1 going out this way. So we can bridge off this line in order to get our CPUs set up. Now there's one other block that you can put on this thing, and I'm actually going to add it because it's cool. You can add a crafting monitor. The crafting monitor is a crafting unit with an ME storage monitor, which is a level emitter and an illuminated panel. Level emitter is just a calculation thing and a redstone torch, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so that gets us a storage monitor, and 1 more of these crafting units gets us a crafting monitor. All right, so in order to set up the CPUs, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up, we're going to put a smart cable down here. Actually, I'm temporarily going to break this because this cable needs to be here. P2P goes on the edge of that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go on the edge of that. Because if you remember, the buses, let's dig out here so I can make the point. The buses, wait, yeah, the buses have to face to the outside. So if I put that there, and put that there, actually that's set up correctly, so shows what I know. Okay, anyway, we're going to put this out here. We need to link this to one of the things up here. Or wait, no. We need to link this, well actually yeah, we need to link this to one of the things up here. It doesn't really matter which one. I could link it on the same one as that, but let's link it to this one here. Device offline, unlinked. Device missing channel, device online, device offline. Why is this offline? Why is it offline? It shouldn't be offline, it should be online. Because that controller is active. Okay, device offline, unlinked. Let's put that on there instead, because we need to keep this from disconnecting. Okay, device is online. When I right-click it, now the device is offline. Device is missing channel, device is online, device is offline. What the shit? But yet it's still using the channel. You know what, we're going to hook it up and see if it works. Because I'm kind of not believing the fact that it's offline. I think that might be a glitch. We'll need some cable anchors because we need to space the stuff off. We don't want this to connect. But what we do want this to do is we want to put our first CPU right here. A CPU is consistent of at least one crafting storage, and that's it. That's enough for a basic CPU. But you can add coprocessors and you can add crafting monitors. And one CPU will use one channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, let's see, I'm going to put a coprocessor there. I'm going to put one there. That's not going to connect. We're going to put the crafting storage there. That's going to connect. Device is offline, device is online. Device is online, good. Maybe it just hadn't caught up yet. We put the coprocessor on there, and the device is back online. It's shut down for a second to reinitialize. Then we're going to put the crafting monitor right there. It's going to shut off momentarily, and then it's going to reinitialize, and it's going to come back online. So this gives us one coprocessor. We can see now that this is using two channels. One channel's going out that way, one channel's going that way. In total, we're using 3 channels off of this dedicated line. One going that way, one going that way, one going that way. And notice that these P2P tunnels aren't necessarily linked to the same P2P tunnel here, right? They don't have to be. You can link, and you can link this, you can link these things to multiple P2P tunnels. So if I'm using this one, which I am, I can come back here and I can say, you know what, I haven't used anywhere near all the channels that are available on this. I want to use these channels somewhere else too. I want to use these channels over there. You can do that. As long as you don't exceed 32 channels coming in here or 8 channels carried here, you're fine. So we've got our first coprocessing unit installed. I'm going to install more coprocessing units. I'm going to put probably one here. How do I want to do this? Probably do one here, which I'll have to space off from that. And then we'll do one here, which again, I'll have to space off. But I want to do a total of 4. That's how we're going to do it. So put that back in. Can put that back in. Actually, yeah, I think that's going to look really... No. I don't want them staggered like that. That's how we're going to do the hookup. And then that's going to go there, and then put the wall there. We can put that back there, and we can actually cover this up. Because I'm done here for now. Damn. Sorry if I'm clearing my throat more than usual. At work today, I had to work. I wasn't working in my normal position because we had a call out. So I was working in one of the dustiest areas of the mill, and I'm having a hard time getting the crap out of my lungs. So I apologize in advance if the phlegm level is a little bit more than usual. All right, so we have the coprocessor installed, or the CPU installed. That's one CPU. And if we look here, well, it's not going to do anything yet because we don't have any way to craft. Well, let's make us a way to craft. I'm thinking about where I want to do this because I was thinking about disassembling this entire setup here and building it somewhere else, and then setting up this in my clean room as my... You know what? I'm going to do that. We're going to break all of this up. Did not mean to break you. Come on. Yeah, I want to have this in here as my crafting room. So what I actually should do if I'm doing this is I should rip up the entire floor. Because I need to get all of this cable out. Because I have a crap ton of cable in here. That probably should go if I'm doing this. I don't have a drill on me, so I'm going to have to... Or I don't have a wrench on me, so I'm going to have to drill this out. You know what? I'm going to go get a wrench. Because this is just silly. Crescent hammer should work. But if it doesn't, the Yeta wrench will. Actually, let's just use the freaking Yeta wrench. Okay, now this is going to cause us an issue with the elevators. Because the elevators aren't going to be connected anymore. So we'll have to figure out a way to reconnect them, but overall I think it's going to be a better idea to have... Actually, you know what? I do want some power running into this room still, and I'll explain why in a bit. But for right now, let's kind of repair the floor a little bit. Just a bit, because I'm just going to rip most of it up again anyway. And let's go get some more ingredients to make this happen. We are going to need... Let's see. I think for this next one, I'm going to use... Well, we're going to need some of the glass cable for sure. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. I'm going to run a carrier line. And the carrier line... The carrier line can come off of here. There's a power crossover. Okay, am I back here? Yeah, yes, good. Alright, carrier line is going to come in here. And for the carrier line, I'm just going to use Fluix cable. Actually, no, because this is going to go off that this is going to go off that bus there. I need to find the area where the P2P connector is, right there. So this is the carrier line, right there. So what I need to do is I need to put another P2P, because otherwise I'm going to use a bunch of channels on that and I don't want to. So I need a new P2P. grab another P2P tunnel. While we're in here, I'm going to go ahead and link the memory card. We're going to use this P2P tunnel. All right, we drop down here. We pop the P2P tunnel on the end of there and load the settings on there, and we've got a link. So now I just need to run this, I don't want to break that. Put that back. Put that back. In case some of you were wondering, yes, I do come back pretty much after every episode and reevaluate my lighting to make sure that what I've done on this episode hasn't screwed up my lighting situation and turned my base into a mob spawner. Okay, that should be good for the carrier line. Well, this isn't a carrier line now. This is actually an ME line. Although actually, you know what? I don't want this here. I don't want this here. Can I remove this without disturbing this? Probably not. Maybe with the network diagnostic tool I can. If I made a mistake, I'll just kind of deal with it. But can I remove you? Yes, good. That's what I wanted. Because I want to continue the carrier line. I want to have access to the full 32 channels in here, if at all possible. So the line that I'm placing right now, this is still a carrier line. This isn't a data line. Or data line, or however you want to pronounce it. And we're going to come in through here. And I'm actually going to put a smart cable here. Now, on the edge of the smart cable, I'm going to put the first P2P tunnel right there. We'll paste the settings again. And device missing channel, device online. Good. Okay, so this is the first setup for the autocrafting. I'm also going to put a P2P tunnel there, and I'm going to put one there when I run out of channels out of this. So, what are we going to do with this? Well, first of all, we are going to set up our first ME interface, which we're going to do by setting up the molecular assembler right there, so that that's buried in the floor. And then we're going to put the ME interface on top of it. If we look at the carrier line, we've got one channel coming off of this line. And if I were to put a piece of smart cable here instead of the regular cable, we'd see that this entire setup here is using one channel. Even though the block consists of two different pieces, it's only using one channel. Now, this gives us access to basic ME autocrafting. We need a couple more pieces to actually make the autocrafting magic happen, and then there are things that we can do to improve the efficiency. Let's start first with what you have to do to make it work. You have to have an ME, let's see, what is it? It's the pattern encoder. Wait, that's AE2 stuff? What is it called? Can never remember because I don't actually use this too much. ME drive, chest, interface. Where are you? Those are your P2P tunnels. There's the ME interface, the flat one. There's the blank pattern, which we'll also need. And admittedly, I've been playing around a bit recently with refined storage, which is kind of like a spiritual predecessor to this. Okay, well, let's take a look at the uses for the illuminated panels, because ME terminal, ME interface terminal, ME storage monitor. It's not an ME interface terminal. Well, I guess we'll just use the pattern encoder. I mean, I don't remember this being part of AE2 stuff, is the thing that throws me. I remember this being part of AE. So pattern encoder goes there. Well, I mean, it looks right. ME terminal, ME pattern terminal. That's what I was after. So we'll break you for now, and we'll just put you away. Why couldn't I find this when I searched for pattern before? I don't know. Anyway, it's an ME crafting terminal, which is an ME terminal. And you upgrade that with a crafting table and a processor to get your crafting terminal. Then you upgrade that with an engineering processor to get your pattern terminal. Crafting Maestro. So we attach the pattern terminal on there, and device is missing. Channel, devices online. Okay. I was going to say, don't tell me I'm out of channels, because I shouldn't be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These don't use channels. 6, 7. There's 2 of them used in there. So we're good. All right. Now we need some of these blank patterns. We can actually come into here. Well, no, because I don't have blank patterns. So let's go to the blank pattern. It is Certus quartz, glowstone, quartz glass, and an iron ingot. So let's get a blank pattern. And we are going to toss the blank pattern in here. Now, we can teach this thing recipes. So, if we want to teach this thing how to make sticks, we can. We put 1 piece of wood there. Output is 4 planks, encode pattern. We have an encoded pattern. Cool, right? What does this do? Come in here. Put this in the ME interface. And now, when we come out here, we're going to look up wood planks. Oh, we have 364. That's great. What if we were out? Let's see. Viewed. Craftable. If we're out, we have the ability now to craft these planks. So let's craft 100 planks. That's going to tell us it uses 174 bytes, requires 25 wood, which we have available, and it's to craft 100 of them. So we hit start, and if we look over here, we have a progress report. This is why I like having the crafting monitor on here, because with this, you can tell what you're crafting at any particular point in time. I personally think that's pretty damn cool. I like that. But you notice it was going real slow. Well, there's a couple of things you can do to improve that. First thing you can do is you can put more molecular assemblers on. You can have up to 6 on a single ME terminal. And I'm out of quartz glass again. Let's change this back to stored and craftable. And we'll take some Certus quartz. I need to go mining for Certus again. Or I just need to go mining again, period. So let's toss some Certus quartz in here. We'll let that process down. You can use nether quartz for this. I think I have more nether quartz than I have Certus, so I probably should have used that, but whatever. There we go. Molecular assemblers. Get. I already have one on there, so I need 5 more. So, 1. No, not there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, we now have a fully fledged ME storage, or ME interface with 6 molecular assemblers. Let's do that 100 plank thing again. We hit start, and look how much faster it's going. That's because it's using multiple interfaces to do the same work. The coprocessors that I've attached to this allow it to use all of those interfaces, or all of those molecular assemblers. Without the coprocessors, it would only be able to use 2, maybe 3 of those assemblers. So that sped things up. What else can you do? Well, you can add acceleration cards, which is advanced cards. And I'm going to need 30 of these. Which, of course, I don't have anywhere near what I need. So let's get some sand and some Fluix dust, and we'll combine those to get Fluix seeds. 64 of them. Pop those in here, because you can use learn to talk. You can use pure Fluix for this. It doesn't have to be. Why are you taking so long? I remember this being faster. Maybe I had some acceleration cards in there before. I'm not using this right now, so. I don't know why I have a side inventory at the moment. Huh. Why do I have that there? Can I craft stuff in this? No. Why is that there? I don't know. Anyway. That gets us 30 acceleration cards. We come in here, and these acceleration cards go in the molecular assemblers. Each one can take 5. There we go. Come on. And it's raining again. Why is it always raining on this server? Okay, so we've upgraded the network again. Let's make some more wooden planks. Make 100 more. We start it, and well, it wasn't a whole lot faster, but it was faster. The acceleration cards really come into their own when you... Actually, you might be able to put acceleration cards in the interface too. No, actually you can't. Okay. But yeah, they really come into play. They really come into their own later on when you're doing multi-tier crafting recipes. It really speeds things up. Alright, so we have got one of those things online. I'm probably going to want to have 2 or 3 of those. But we don't need any more of those for right now. Now, I'm warning you ahead of time, this is going to be a little bit of a long episode because I have one more thing I want to do in this episode. Because I have the ability to craft wooden planks now, and I can add pretty much any recipe that you make in a crafting table here. But what if you need to craft something like the Certus quartz dust that I just made? How do you do that? Well, it's still possible. You need a blank pattern. So let's get one of those. And we're going to clear this, put the pattern in here, and we're going to tell this thing, that one Certus Quartz crystal, actually we need to change this over to a crafting or a processing pattern. We're going to tell this one Certus Quartz crystal, not 35, 1, becomes one Certus Quartz dust, and we're going to encode that. This will tell an ME interface that it has the ability to craft that. So let's make an interface. Now, you need the machine in order to make this work. My personal preference when I'm doing autocrafting is to use Ender IO machines, and I'll show you why in a second. We're going to make a sag mill. So we need a... I'll grab a couple of them, because we're going to need them. So there's the machine chassis. There is our sag mill. We're going to get an octadic processor, capacitor, whatever it is. We're going to come in here and we are going to plug this in right... Where do I want to do this? Dig the floor out here so that I have the ability to run this. And I'm going to put this one right... Let's do it right there. We'll drop the octadic capacitor in there. And we're going to run another line. That line is going to go to this ME interface. Okay. This ME interface is going to get the pattern. Creates one Certus Quartz dust with one Certus Quartz crystal. Okay. This is why I like using these machines. You can configure the I/O of these machines to push-pull. The reason why you want to do this, the ME interface, when it is attached to a machine, gets the idea, hey, if I give this item to this machine, it's going to give me back what's on the pattern, because that's what it does. It uses this as an interim crafting step instead of treating it like a crafting bench. So, if I were to hook, say, a thermodynamics furnace up here, or a thermodynamics pulverizer, the ME interface will quite happily feed the Certus Quartz crystal in as long as the side that's touching it is set to input. But what happens when it's done? There's no way to kick it back out the same side. You have to use a pipe to send that back into the interface. And it's important that the output gets sent back into the interface because that is how the system knows that the crafting recipe is done. If it doesn't get sent back through the interface, it doesn't know that the crafting step has been completed. So if you have it go through another interface or an import bus, it doesn't know it's done. It has to be fed back in through the same interface that issued the crafting job. But now that this is connected, I should be able to come out to the system and order Certus Quartz dust to be made out of Certus Quartz. Let's change this back to craftable, and let's ask for one Certus Quartz dust. It's going to use a Certus Quartz crystal to craft one Certus Quartz dust. Let's get this dust that I have in here out. Because I already have one Certus Quartz dust in here, and I want to prove that this is working. So, to craft, 1. Available, 1. And you saw that showed up there for a split second. And there's Certus Quartz dust in the system. The sag mill did the interim processing for us. Well, we can take it a step further. Let's get 2 more patterns. Not the pattern encoder. 2 more of the blank patterns, please. We'll pop those in here. I am constantly having to make vibrant alloy. It's a pain in the ass. I don't like doing it. Let's teach the system to make it. one of you, one of you, and one of you equals one of you. We'll just make energetic alloy to start. That gives us our encoded pattern. While I'm at it, I also don't like having to request charcoal to be made. One of you. And I'm gonna have to do this in another crafting table, or actually, you know what, I'm just gonna go burn a piece of wood real quick, because if I put this in the system, it's immediately gonna get gobbled up by the fuel wood heaters out there. So we'll come up here and we'll use the ultimate furnace that I've got up here to do this job for me. Boink. Never ceases to amaze me how fast that is. All right. One wood equals one charcoal. Bam. Okay. We're going to need 2 more ME interfaces. No, that's not what I wanted. I want it over here. And I ran out of annihilation cores, so let's make another annihilation core. And then I'm going to get 2 alloy smelters. And we're going to get 2 of the octadic capacitors. All right, let's go set these up. We'll come back into this room, and we'll put one here, and we'll put one, or do I want to put it here? Yeah, I can put it here. Because this isn't going to touch this interface, so we're still good. Interface, interface. If we come over here and look at this now, we should be using 4 channels, which we are. This entire processor, or this entire processing thing is using 1. This interface is using 1, this one's using 1, this one's using 1. So, let's put a capacitor in here, and a capacitor in here. And this one, we're going to set to alloys only. This one, we're going to set to furnace only. Okay? This ME interface is going to get the pattern to create charcoal. This one is going to get the pattern to create energetic alloy. Let's come in here and request some energetic alloy. After we take it out of the system, for a proof of concept, of course. Oh no, we're out of energetic alloy. Let's ask for one. It's going to take that. We've started it. The energetic alloy has been sent to the crafting system. And I totally didn't set the outputs, so it's never going to realize that crafting job is done. Even though it's done it, it's never going to realize the crafting job is done because I never set the input-output. Now that it's on push-pull, and we'll do the same thing here while I'm thinking about it. Now that it's on push-pull, if we go back in here, we'll see that there's an energetic alloy in the system. And you notice that this crafting monitor has cleared. There's our energetic alloy. Awesome. Let's take it a step further. Vibrant alloy is just as annoying to create. Let's set up so that we can create that. I need to put this in JEI synchronized mode. Okay. And clear this, make sure it's in processing pattern, drop that in there, an energetic alloy, plus an ender pearl, and it doesn't matter where these things are when you're doing the processing patterns, equals a vibrant. We're going to take all the vibrant out of the system. And notice that this has 3 possible outputs. So if you know that a pattern can create more than one output, you can specify that. However, did I clear this? No. It is important, it is very important, that if you are doing a crafting pattern for the processing one, like if you're doing one of these processing patterns like I'm doing right now, you have to specify exactly what the output is. So you can't, for example, put a piece of coal in here and tell it that it's going to get coal dust, and it's going to have oh, if you send one piece of coal to the sag mill, you're going to get coal dust and you're going to get sulfur. Because even though sulfur is a possible secondary output, it's not always going to be there. So if the system if you request sulfur, it's going to send the coal out and then it's going to say, wait, where's my sulfur? So you have to be very specific what is going to come out of here. But I should now be able to craft vibrant alloy. If I select one, it's going to say, oh hey, I need to craft an energetic alloy to do this because there's none in the system. So we're going to need the stuff to make the energetic alloy, and then once we're done crafting that, we'll have that, so then we can make this. If we start this, we'll see it's crafting vibrant alloy. It is currently crafting the energetic, and now it's crafting the vibrant. And it's done. How neat is that? I think it's pretty neat. Now, the downside to this entire crafting setup here, in here, and the last thing I'm going to do for you in this episode is show you how you access that ME interface in the middle there without having to break all this shit. The downside to this is you can only fit 9 patterns in these ME interfaces, which makes it kind of a pain in the ass if you need more than 9 patterns, because then you have to set up multiple machines, or you have to get really tricky in setting up ME interfaces, but then you have to make sure that the items go to the correct interface, so you can't use the push-pull thing. You can push in there, but you have to pull from another side, and you have to filter the outputs, and it turns into a gigantic pain in the ass. But it's possible. So, the molecular assembler thing there, how do we get to that? Because there's an ME interface in the middle of it, and we can't access that ME interface because it's stuck in the middle of a whole bunch of assemblers. Well, there's a way. The ME interface terminal takes an illuminated panel, an engineering processor, and an ME interface. So we'll need one more of these. And bam, there we go. This should be the 8th channel. So I can't put any more devices on this network, or I'll run out of channels. But if I click on this, hey, check this out. I have access to the 2 alloy smelter things, and the molecular assembler thing, and the sag mill thing. Pretty cool, huh? Let's take it a step further, because I have 2 alloy smelter things over there. Well, how do I know which one's which? I mean, obviously you can look at it and say, well, obviously this one is for the alloy one, because it's making alloys. But what if you have multiple machines and you want specific machines to do specific jobs? Well, you can take these parts and bring them over to an anvil and pop them in here, and you can rename them. Let's call this one alloy interface. And if we come over here, and we pop down the alloy interface back in front of the sag mill, we should be able to come out here, and yes, I know I didn't put the patterns in. I'm doing this to prove a point. We can come in here and go in here, and alloy interface is now showing up on here. And from there, we can put these patterns into that interface. And they show up right over here, right where you need them. I think that's pretty damn cool. All right, this episode has run extremely long, so I need to end this one here. Off camera, I'm going to do some mining for Certus. I'm going to set up the other CPUs. I'm not sure I'm going to do it this way yet. I might actually build them up into the ceiling instead and just have a carrier line run up, or a data line run up through the center. I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out off camera, and then I'm also going to make a bunch of patterns to take care of some of the more annoying stuff that I have to craft all the time. I'm looking at U64Ks. Alright, so anyway, thank you guys for watching. This has been Night Dagger with episode 21 of Let's Play on Gult's Gorge. Hope you guys are enjoying the series and are actually learning some stuff, because I am myself. And I'll catch you later, peeps.